Welcome to Crypto Kid Podcast. Make sure I turn on my camera. So today I have a special guest, Russell Starr, and he is one of the executives of DeFi Technologies, and he's going to explain to us how he got into the blockchain space and what possessed him to get in this crazy market. So welcome, Russell. It's an honor and privilege to have you on the show. And yeah, go for it, bro. Let me know how you got into the space.
Yeah, and thank you very much. Really appreciate you having me on. Look, a little bit, a little bit complicated, but it probably is for all of us, right? When you think about it. This is an industry that's growing two times faster than the internet grew. Us TradFi guys and gals were probably a little bit slower than some of you crypto natives. And honestly, I was a gold guy. I watched what central banks were doing, destroying basically fiat currencies. And I found this really cool company called DeFi Technologies, run by the founder of Hive Blockchain, Ollie Rusi-Newton, and the founder of XBT Provider, which is now CoinShares, which I think was the first ever Bitcoin ETF in the world. Johan Wattenstrom, and kind of just bought a lot of the stock. Liked what they were doing, and obviously with the advent of the approval of the Bitcoin ETFs, we're ostensibly one of the only companies in the world that has 23 different crypto ETFs. So we're taking sort of the TradFi ETF world, and we're marrying it with the crypto and the DeFi space. And so literally just kind of, I don't know, to a certain extent was lucky. I like to think I'm a little bit smart enough to at least be buying this company, buying some of it. And here I am today working with two kind of crypto legends.
That's great. That's great. So like you must have built up a lot of rapport for these guys to actually trust you with making some decisions in their company, right?
Yeah, we obviously, like any management team, go toe to toe every now and then. They are legitimate crypto pioneers. Hive has become a kind of a household Ethereum miner. They're Bitcoin and Ethereum now, and then obviously CoinShares, which was XBT Provider, is a big name as well. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. They're super smart, super intelligent guys, and yeah, I bring sort of a TradFi experience to the company, but they're very legitimate in the TradFi world too.
You know who you remind me of? You remind me of Steve Jobs, like when he was involved with Pixel, like when they
Yeah,
came out with Toy Story and all that.
yeah.
Because they
Well,
go ahead.
I've been called worse.
What do you
I'm
mean?
kidding. I'm kidding. That guy's a legend, man. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, dude. When I first started my entrepreneur career, that Tim, Bill Gates, Mark
Yep,
Zuckerberg were the guys that I was reading about, watching videos,
yep,
documentaries, and also
yep.
who else? Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So
And Russ Starr.
Russ Starr for sure.
I'm kidding. Thanks, man.
No problem. Can you explain what makes the Valor Bitcoin's stakes the world's first yield-bearing Bitcoin ETP?
Yeah, so that's the Bitcoin ETP we've created that actually pays a yield. So it's like being paid a dividend. No one else does that. So if you look at BlackRock's ETF, Grayscale, like any of the ones in the US, they charge a management fee to have the privilege of buying a Bitcoin, which is, I don't know, I find it kind of weird in a way. We actually do the reverse. We pay investors 5.65% to actually get long a Bitcoin ETF. So no one else is doing that I know of in the world. There's a couple of ones that pay a little bit of a yield through what are called covered call strategies, which are a little bit. It's not the way I would do it. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, it's the first ever of its kind. The Bitcoin ETFs are obviously going bonkers in a good way in the US. We have one in Europe, which is our Valor. We own 100% of Valor. That's our ETF company. That's where we launch all our ETFs. So, imagine actually knowing about that. Let's say you're a mom and pop in the US and you're paying BlackRock, 2% to just own a Bitcoin ETF. And then you hear about us paying you 5.65% to own a Bitcoin ETF. I think that will be a bit of a game changer in the ETF space.
Yes, I would love to get paid to have some ETFs. So
Yeah,
how
there
do you
you
sign
go.
up? How do you sign up for that? You just go to the
Just
website?
yeah, you go to the website. You can see where it's listed in Europe, and like for every security that you would buy in a traditional sense, there's either a QSIP or an ICE in them, and that identifies what it is. You just plug that in, and it'll pull up, and you can buy it. Honestly, you don't even get paid to own a Bitcoin normally, right? I mean, some people lend them, but we're actually paying 5.65% because of our relationship with Core. So
Now, why are you doing that? I feel like you're losing money a little bit when you pay people to do that.
no, no. If you go look at Core, which honestly, I mean, the way I think of Core is kind of the first ever layer two DeFi protocol on the Bitcoin blockchain. They generate 12 to 15% yield on what they do on Bitcoin. So we're getting 12 to 15%, and we actually pay 5.65 of that out. So we actually still make money. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what's the main benefits for this ETP for investors? Sorry.
Well, you get long Bitcoin. Like one of the challenges I think investors have faced is, you've been buying crypto products, blockchain, however you want to call them, Web 3.0, on these exchanges, which some of them have actually gone under, aka FTX and others. And there's a risk of losing all your money. We do it on traditional exchanges, right? That's what the ETFs do. So you can actually theoretically buy a Bitcoin through us on a traditional exchange. So you avoid a lot of those potential landmines for these unregulated crypto exchanges that may go under from, basically bad actors. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is obviously you get paid 5.65% to own it. That's unheard of. And because of our proprietary relationship with Core, we can do it.
Yeah, dude. A lot of people are sketched out because of Sam and the bad
Yeah, yeah,
actors.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like it could look so legitimate, like they built a stadium and all this, and then Tom Brady got involved. But yeah, how do you make people comfortable? Like, hey, this is why you should invest in this, and this we separated ourselves from what other people have
Yeah,
did that got under.
yeah, those are unregulated crypto exchanges. The world's traditional capital markets, whether that's the New York Stock Exchange, the Toronto Stock Exchange, the Dow, the FTSE, like any of these are all regulated. These are all there are measures in place so that there are no bad actors, right? Like it's basically impossible to do that on a traditional capital markets exchange. That's how we solve for it. So you're not there's basically zero. I mean, the only risk you have is Bitcoin going to zero itself, and I think that risk is now basically zero. Like I think Bitcoin's here to stay. Maybe there was a chance when crypto winter hit, it was back down to 15,000, and people were speculating it was worthless. But now that it's actually weathered all of these what I call black swan events, I just don't see that as a possibility. So there's no exchange risk in what we do, like none. So I get your question, but it's zero. Like it's being mitigated already.
Like you were saying, it's regulated. Like who beside like people that are in the space
Governments.
knows the SEC, which helps regulate it. But is there any other
Yeah.
governments that help with that process?
Every government does it. So every government in every jurisdiction monitors their capital markets. So yeah, like, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it short of going through the entire history of traditional capital markets, but all of those bad actors over hundreds of years have been eliminated, and they've come up with models with requirements and restrictions that prohibit FTX ever happening, Three Arrows Capital ever happening, Voyager. Voyager is an example of a company that was flying. The issue wasn't with their business model. The issue was that they lent all their money in a concentrated fashion to an actor that went under, which was Three Arrows Capital. So we don't do any of that. We never do any of that. We're just an ETF company which accumulates cash for people who want to buy XRP, Solana. Like, these are all the products we have, Cardano, Polkadot, you name it, but they can do it on a traditional capital exchange without the risk that you're talking about.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Ethereum. They just came out with their own ETF. Are you guys going to get a little bit involved with that? Can you share some if you are, or?
We already have one, and we charge no management fee for it. We already have an Ethereum ETF in Europe. So all this stuff that's going on in the US, they are light years behind where we are in Europe already. The European regulators are far more accepting of the crypto universe. They have an entire set of regulations that have been set up to actually foster the growth of this industry. And you're seeing US government now really doing an about face, because I think they're finally realizing how much money they're losing by honestly just being unsophisticated and narrow-minded and I like, just go look at what's happening with the SEC and all the lawsuits. They're losing continuously. The courts have ruled against them. It's I got to be careful what I say, but it's a really nonsensical approach to the crypto industry that you're seeing in both US and Canada. Canadian regulators are terrible as well.
That's surprising because, like, majority of people that buy cryptos are from the US, like NFTs and things like that. So, like, the biggest.
I know.
Yes.
Well, if you look and watch what happened with Grayscale trying to become an ETF, like, that took a year, 2 years, right? They basically went through a lengthy court battle. The SEC's position was, well, crypto is really bad for the US dollar. No, what's really bad for the US dollar is your government continuously printing US dollars. So they're just trying to prohibit this industry from growing for political reasons. It has nothing to do with the actual veracity of the industry. And now you're seeing the government starting to recognize that.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
That they left it really behind, because we have El Salvador, which is pretty pursuit.
Yeah.
And dude, I think honestly they're gonna get really far ahead, and yeah, I think the United States realized, like you were saying, that they're getting left behind, and it's time to act, because if they don't, then could potentially go back to the Stone Age. I hate to say it,
Yep.
but and the thing is, it's a lot. The problem is, a lot of the people that are in charge of government are, I don't want to be disrespectful, but they're kind of old, like they don't want to. They're not like
they're unsophisticated.
Yeah, they're not willing to change.
Well, the way I put it is, their bread is buttered the wrong way, right? Like all they care about is the US dollar remaining strong, and it's all politically driven rather than economically driven. And imagine if they had taken this exact same perspective with the internet and where they'd be. Like, it's just honestly, it's one of the least sophisticated moves I've ever seen North America undertake. And again, Canada is just as bad, right? It's really quite crazy. So
Yeah, dude, and also another thing, like my girlfriend, she was going through some stuff with the VA, and I was like, so, like, she was telling me how the technology was, and she's saying that it's all outdated, like it's all old phones and computers. I was like, really? It's the U.S. government. They're supposed to like, we're supposed to have like the best, in my opinion. Because we became like one of the most powerful countries in the world, and now like who knows who the next powerful country in the world would be? That a lot of people are saying China. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, look, um, everywhere else in the world is embracing this ecosystem, other than the U.S. and Canada. Um, they've lost, and it's one. What is it? The definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Well, that's what the SEC and the Canadian regulators are doing. They are acting stupidly. The courts have ruled crypto's here to stay. Bitcoin's taking off. The entire ecosystem is going nuts. Like most of these protocols now have billion, multi-billion dollar market caps, and they're trying to say no, you can't do this. Like it's like pushing against a steamroller, right? You're going to lose. So I don't understand why they continue to stick with this, but you're seeing your government, the U.S. government now, retrace, and you're seeing a really powerful movement in the House, and I suspect in the Senate, where I think they're going to force the U.S. government to come to its senses and start embracing this ecosystem rather than fighting it.
Right, right. I totally concur. So let's go back to Valor and like what they're doing a little bit, so people could
Yep.
have a better understanding. Thank you for sharing like your thoughts about that too,
Yeah.
because I've
No, my
always been
pleasure, man.
curious, and I'm sure like people that are patriots here in the United States, well, like they're a little bit concerned, but Valor
Well, they should be,
and
man. Your U.S. dollar is falling apart, right? It
yeah,
is, and
yeah. So
and
now
you
the
can.
look. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, you have a way to hedge against the debasement of your currency by buying crypto, and your government is trying to stop you from doing it. Come on, man, as they would say in the NFL. Come on, man.
Yeah, now yeah, it forces us to look for other alternatives and other options
Yep,
and things like that. But I would it would be that would be a sad day if that
yep.
ever came.
It's going to change. It's changing now, man. It is.
Yeah.
So,
So anybody that's listening, you better be ready, man. Get your cryptos,
yeah,
get
yep,
involved with DeFi Technologies and
yep,
seeing what they're doing because they're doing big things. They're trying to help change the world. So what are some
yep.
differentiates on Valor's Bitcoin staking like BTC from the other Bitcoin ETPs available in the market?
Well, that I've already discussed that. It's
Okay.
we actually pay you that 5.65% yield, right? So, you go out and you buy any of these other ETFs, which it's the most successful ETF ever in the history of ETFs, and ETFs are the biggest trend in US capital markets right now. So literally take the most successful ETF in the biggest trend ever in
Right.
US capital markets. It's Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETF. And I suspect the Ethereum ETF is going to be equally as compelling. But they charge you to hold your Bitcoin. They charge you 1 to 2% or 1 to 3%. We pay you. That's the biggest differentiator. Like imagine getting 5%. You buy $1 million, you're getting 50 grand a year to hold Bitcoin just from owning our product.
Right.
You're
Okay.
paying 20 grand a year to own the other products.
So how does the management fee of 1.9 compare to other similar products in the market?
Well, so our Bitcoin products are typically zero management fees. The one where we're paying you 5.65, we charge a management fee, but that again, the 1.9 take it off of the 5.6, and you're still getting paid to own your Bitcoin. Um, yeah, we don't believe you should be charging anything to own these products. So again, the U.S. once again is kind of behind the scenes, which usually isn't the case. Like usually the U.S. is leading the charge, right? Now
Yeah.
they're a follower. They're not even a follower. They're a distant follower, which is unfortunate.
So what's next for you guys? What's coming out that people may want to hear first on Crypto Kid podcast? Depending on what time the episode gets published, what are you able to
Yeah.
share?
Look, we have 23 of these ETFs already. Like I mentioned, like Solana is one of our most successful ETFs. Solana's been on fire. Imagine being able to have bought that 2 years ago. We offer that, right? It's you're going to see us. We just launched Toncoin, so Telegram's really successful coin. We have that. We've done Chainlink. We will always be cutting edge, offering investors the ability to buy these products on traditional capital markets rather than having to go through these unregulated exchanges. Now, obviously, there are regulated exchanges like Robinhood and Coinbase where you can access some of these protocols. We're trying to bring as many of them as possible to people so that they can buy them easily, simply through their traditional Charles Schwab account, whatever you want to call it. Like, take your pick. We're trying to make it so that everybody can participate in this incredible opportunity, right? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's like look, I always get in trouble for saying this, but it's like being able to buy Amazon at $1,000 20 years ago, right? That's what we're doing with Bitcoin, Chainlink, Toncoin. We're giving investors that chance, and it's a really huge opportunity when you think about how fast crypto is growing.
So is there any like affiliate programs that investors could get involved? Like if they share with other people, do they get paid more or?
You mean like staking slash airdrop slash that kind of stuff?
Yes, exactly.
No, no. This is a traditional like this is like buying the Bitcoin ETF in the US. We're just doing it for all of these other protocols uh, outside of the US. And why are we doing it outside of the US? Because the US won't let us do it, right? Like so we're all over Europe. This company is very successful. It's doing incredibly well. But instead of your government, being sensible and forward thinking and open to massive trends, the Europeans are getting the benefit of what the US isn't.
Okay. So is there anything that you felt like we didn't go over that you might want to discuss about
No, man.
DeFi?
Well, look, I mean, other than the symbol, if you want to buy the parent company, which is DeFi Technologies, we trade in the US. So it's like you buy our company, you're getting the benefit of all of these other underlying ETFs, and the symbol is DEFTF. We're looking to uplist to the NYSE or the Nasdaq when our share price gets high enough. But that's about it, man. And I really appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Hey man, would you get offended if I try to buy you out of the company?
Not at all. Go for it. Happy to.
I'm just kidding, man. That would be doing too much for you to get. I was like, oh, probably be pulling my hair
Go
out.
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just kidding. I was kidding. But
Yeah. All good.
would other people be able to buy in pretty well, like you have?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
trading at $1 US right now on the OTC, DEFTF. Go to the website, defi.tech. You can read all about everything we just discussed.
Yes, and where can people find you?
Well, defi.tech. I'm in Canada, but Starr, Starr, at defi.tech is my email, and people can reach out anytime.
Okay, good deal. I appreciate you coming on the show, and I know you're a busy guy. You're changing the world, and dude, just keep on putting some stars in the universe, man. It's a great thing,
You
and
got it.
you're doing amazing things. So take
Thanks
it
a lot,
easy,
Sonny.
bro.